Welcome back to another episode of Class Dismissed. I'm your host Tavishee Banerjee, and today we're talking about the college application game and how to play it right. Today we're joined by the wonderful Nikita Gidwani, who has helped countless students navigate the chaos of college applications. She has a master's in computer applications and she started out in the corporate world, only to realize that it wasn't for her. It was during a session with high school students that she found her true passion, which is guiding young minds towards their dreams. As a college guidance counselor, she spent years helping students draft compelling applications, finding the right fit universities, and secure scholarships. Besides that, she's also been a CAS coordinator, a mentor, a dorm parent, a Teach for All review committee member, and even led social media campaigns, having led climate change education campaigns in Tanzania. She's always pushing to create more opportunities for her students. So, if you're someone who's struggling with college essays or overwhelmed by application deadlines, then this episode is just for you. So, let's get into it. It is so good to have you here, Nikita ma'am.
Thank you so much, Tavishee.
So, let's get straight into it. What is the one thing that high school students think will make or break their application, but actually doesn't matter as much as they think or believe?
Well, a lot of times students feel that it's only going to be the scores that's going to get them the admission, or it's going to be the standardized testing that's going to get them the admission. But universities are looking for a little more. The universities want to see the individual capacity of the child, how they will fit into the university community, how they can be a vital part of it. And yes, we keep using the word holistic approach for college admission these days. They actually mean it. You have to be academically driven, but there has to be a lot of passion that you also portray in your application. So students usually forget that part of following the passion and only focus on the academic driven applications. So that's one thing that the students should shift their focus from.
Right. So that leads a lot of us to go towards extracurriculars and, joining clubs and starting new little projects. And so I wanted to ask, what actually makes extracurriculars impressive? What is the one way that you can stand out with the extracurriculars without just vaguely saying, oh, I have these multiple skills and oh, I'm a jack of all trades? What's something that's actually really impressive for a college admissions officer?
So a lot of times, what we see when we read application is students start doing a lot of work when they come to senior school or senior year, because they're going to be applying to the university. So they start doing things only to do an application. And the admission officers can see that through from your profile. And that's one of the reasons why when we are filling the applications, we are asked everything from grade 9, from our high school to senior school, to see our journey as to what subject combinations we had, how much we participated in which year, what type of different activities we've been a part of. So it's very important to understand that you don't have to do a lot of things because you want to make a very long application to the university. You have to be smart enough to carry on 2-3 things that you're doing, but with a lot of passion, where you can actually demonstrate that, yes, this is the change that you were seeking, and it is evident with the kind of work you're doing. What have you contributed to someone else's growth, and how was your own personal growth? We usually tend to forget that. And that's something that the universities are looking into.
College admissions officers can really tell if a student has just done something for the CV,
Yes.
for the sake of, okay, that is something that students need to look out for. Besides just having extracurriculars or checklist items that are just there for the sake of a CV, what is a red flag that the college admissions officers see when they look at an application that immediately kind of tells you that this is not authentic or this is not what we're looking for?
Overly polished essays or college application as a whole, because these officers are reading thousands of applications each year. They know whether it's been done by a 17-year-old or by a 40-year-old. And sometimes we let other voices take over our work. And I understand everybody has like a lot of well-wishers. We want to reach out to different family members. We want to check with friends, and we take advice from everyone. And we also tend to pass on our written work to different people to review it. So every time we are getting it reviewed by a person, they are putting their voice and overpowering yours. and then you're losing the authenticity, you're losing the personal insight, a personal little thing that you were sharing and creating that bond. So over polished applications are the biggest red flags. Nobody wants a already smart, overly smart kid in the university. Universities want to teach you too, and they know that you are just a 17, 18-year-old applying for undergrad program. They don't expect you to know it all. So be your age.
Right, right.
That's yeah.
So I wanted to ask, how do you balance that line of having your own authentic voices, but of course you want, your well-wishers, your parents, maybe your college counselor to review your essay. So how do you balance your voice in your essay as well as maybe the input or feedback of others?
So understanding of feedback is important, and critical analysis of the same is also important. You have to make sure that you are not getting overwhelmed by the feedback that you're receiving and swaying away in different directions. You have to get the base correct and then keep on developing. Yes, there are few students who are very good with the way they write, and their writing skills are so impressive that it feels that the work is done by someone else. But then university admission officers are seeing everything from grade 9. So they can make a sense of whether you always had this knack of writing and you have been doing good. And because you're also submitting your standardized test results scores to them, they get to see how you have performed in different sections. Because when we say that the universities are asking you a personal insight prompt, they don't want to know your life story for 18 years. They just want to know that one little incident that actually had you thinking more in terms of what you want to be, how you want to be, and spark a period of personal growth.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And I now wanted to move on to a different topic, which is the idea of a dream college. Now, a lot of students, a majority of students have a dream college and kind of dedicate their entire high school life into getting into that college, meeting those requirements. And I wanted to ask you what your thoughts on that were. Does it actually hurt more students than motivates them? And how do you get them to shift their perspective on what the right school actually means for them?
Well, yes, in different contexts, dream colleges can turn out to be very hurtful for some students. The entire journey to reaching the dream college can be very hurtful, and that's not how your journey should look like. So when students only focus on dream college because it could be because of ranking, it could be because of the brand name. More important thing is to see whether the child will fit into that place. Would you be able to survive that kind of competition? Is it what you're signing up for? Do you even understand, or have you even researched well to know that this is not my place to be? I had a student, and day one she entered my office and said that, Miss Nikita, I'm just going to apply to an Ivy League, and if it's not an Ivy League, I don't want to continue studying. And I was a little shocked. I didn't want to discourage her because, yes, having a dream place motivates you to work for it. So you should have a dream college. And we had back and forth conversations, and I had to really make her understand the meaning of best fit for her. When I saw her for 3 years of her high school journey, I knew that she's someone who likes a lot of personal attention. She's someone who can thrive very well in a closed knit classroom rather than sitting in a lecture hall where she'll feel lost. So I had to call the parents. I had to do a lot of convincing to the parents to make them understand, because sometimes the students have the financial capacity to go to a place that they feel that they're going to do really well, and sometimes there are students who are so good in their profile building that there are high chances that they will get good scholarship. So you have to redirect them into the right direction. So with this student, she was well off. She had absolutely everything, amazing scores, amazing profile building. And if she could set her mind to something, she would definitely achieve it. So probably, yes, on papers, a very strong application to be submitted to an Ivy League. But just because I had this personal connection, I was seeing the child grow in front of me, I knew that if she ends up in an Ivy League, it's not going to make her happy. Right now, that child is not in an Ivy League. She's in an altogether different country, and she's doing extremely well. She calls me and she says that, Thank you for not letting me go to an Ivy League. I would have felt stuck there. I am thriving so well in this community.
That's a sentence that
Yeah.
I don't expect to hear. Thank you for not sending me to an Ivy League. But you're right. I think best fit is the approach that should kind of replace the rigidity of having a dream college.
Yes. I
Yeah,
think more than best fit, it should be the right fit.
right.
And you can always go back to bigger places, once you're more mature and you have had the experience of being in a college by yourself. Then you can actually scale it up for your master's.
All right.
So you're going to get multiple opportunities. Your life is not going to end on your undergrad, right?
Right. I think we tend to forget that a lot, when we're in 12th grade and applying for colleges. So I wanted to ask you to potentially elaborate on how do we know right fit? How do we know the kind of the things that we want out of a college? Because we don't know what college life is. We don't know what we want and don't want. But how can we know what is the right fit for us without having actually gone to college?
So, giving yourself enough time for self exploration and research is very important. Usually, we don't start with this step. What we do is, oh, I have this person from my family who has graduated from this particular university and they're doing really good in life. So, I want to do that. I did the same mistake. I remember when I applied for Masters of Computer Application, I did it because India was having its biggest IT revolution back then in 2000s. And I ended up doing something that I was not meant for. And that happened because I never allowed myself for self exploration and even seeing what my own personal strengths are and where would I thrive. So a child should spend a lot of time understanding their interest areas, their strengths, also doing a lot of in-depth research. And these days, it is so easier to find information and it's so easy to connect with university officials, to attend webinars, to get your questions answered well before the time to apply so that you would know where you are heading to. There was this complete phase in college application when everyone wanted to apply to Canadian universities. And then there was a phase when the students went there and they were stuck in the snow, they started feeling depressed because you cannot step out of your home. You are there in the country, but you're doing your lessons online. So you go to university to have this human connection and being in a classroom and enjoying it. But now you're stuck just watching snow for months. So for the first year, it's fun because it's for a lot of students, it's for the first time they're seeing so much of snow. So making snow angels, playing in the snow, everything looks really good. When you come to second year, it starts making you feel very depressed and lonely. And you're so far away from home that you feel disconnected with everyone. So even checking the weather of the place, it is such a, like, on paper it's such a small thing, but for your life it's a very important thing. So having a list of parameters that if I have 8 of these out of 10, I will survive in this particular country and I should head there, should be the way a child should decide what the best fit would look like for them or the right fit would look for them. Because we have seen majority students taking transfer after second year because you have something in mind that this is how a university life is going to look like, and you go there and you get the shock of your life.
Right.
So maybe investing time and attending summer schools. All good universities are offering summer schools these days. Just allowing yourself this 15 days of exploration can save you so much. So allowing yourself to intern, do job shadowing, taking up volunteer work, all of these things are very important in identifying your right fit.
Right. And knowing what you like and don't like. I mean, I think that's something that can mostly come with experience.
Yes. And sometimes students do go to a university without checking what sports facilities are going to be there. And suppose I'm a student who absolutely loves cricket and I'm in a country where they don't play cricket at all. It's going to hurt me as a student because I'll have to, start engaging with some other activities only to overcome that lack that I have or the void that I have that I used to be so passionate about. So understanding what you're going to get in a campus is very, very important.
I wanted to ask you actually specifically about gap years.
Yeah.
And what your thoughts on that are and how that could potentially help a student or how you've seen it help a student.
I am absolutely pro gap years. It allows you a lot of time to understand your own self. Everybody has a different timeline in life. You don't have to be in competition with others to be completing your education, getting a job, making your first home, buying your first car. We all are at a different pace, and we should respect that. Sometimes there are students who know it from the beginning that, I'm going to be a doctor or I'm going to be a chef, and they align their passion, interest areas to the career they want to do. But then there are some students who find it difficult to understand, what is it that they are made for? What's the purpose? As an educator, we always want to prioritize the well being of a child. Beyond that, how do we help them? Gap years should not be seen down to, they should be encouraged, because if a child has the capacity to go explore different projects, maybe just go backpacking and volunteer somewhere, it will just change the way they see things. It also grounds you when you are actually working. You are in a place that has less resources. You have to be so creative about your time. It's just for a child to give themselves time and understand where they are headed, pick up new skills, learn something new, and then go back to college after a year or 1.5 years when you feel more prepared. Some students graduate at 17 and they're still babies, right? Like from school. I had a student. She did not apply to universities after high school. And she earned a lot of money by taking up different projects. With all the money she earned, she went to a culinary school and started to learn to cook, only because it's a life skill, not because she wanted to make a career about it. So after completing high school, she spent 2 years taking a gap year. And then she found her strength area. She understood what she wants to do. And right now she's in university. So even though all her other batchmates have graduated from the university, she's still in her final year. But she finds a lot of satisfaction with the way she has moved on.
Yes.
So we should support gap years. I mean, I would always support a gap year.
Yeah.
Unless I have a child who says, I want to take gap year because I want to prepare for an entrance examination. No.
That's that.
No, that's a big no, because everyone else is preparing for entrance examinations with all the caseload that they have. And you should be able to complete whatever study load you have in the academic year. You should have a plan for your gap year. Yes, taking some downtime is okay, but if you're just going to be sleeping at home and doing absolutely nothing, zero personal growth, that's not going to take you to university. So justifying a gap year is important.
That's right. A lot of students say that they have like no idea what they want to do in life. And there's a study that says that nearly 56% of students report that they are stressed and anxious about what they're going to do in life, and they think they're not going to get anywhere. So for these people who think that they have no idea, what's an effective way to help them figure it out, but also without pushing them into a box or without forcing them into anything?
So for such students, they should look into places that allow a child to change courses multiple times. There are countries that allow you to do general studies for 1 year, decide what major you want to do, and then change your major. There are universities that allow you to change your major after you have applied for a specific major too. And that's why we also saw a change of having liberal arts colleges everywhere, because they allow you the interdisciplinary nature of different subjects, and you're not restricted to just one because you don't know what else to do, but you can explore a little more about yourself, right? So it's important to look for places that will allow you that change. And yes, a lot of us go to university applying to a specific major and we completely change it in 6 months. Probably we start picking up a subject, we are not enjoying it, but then we do attend a workshop or an extra class by some other teacher and we start loving that subject because of that teacher. There's no harm in changing your course content.
In relation to that, I wanted to ask that there are some universities that require students to take foundation courses or general studies courses that give the students an insight into everything: science, literature, politics, environmental systems. And so even if you're not majoring in those subjects, you still know about it, or at least you've done one course about it. what do you think of those type of courses? Do you think that kind of thing should be implemented everywhere, or is it something that only some universities should have?
No, it's a very good alternate to start your college. If there's someone who feels that, I'm underprepared, I'm still not ready for university, for them, foundation years really work very well. And it also allows you time to understand how university life is going to look like. It is just strengthening your idea of the subject. It helps you make a very informed decision. Would you want to continue in this or not? So I think it's not a wrong idea, but I also feel that if there's a child who has everything on the application, just having that one conversation might help them not take a foundation year and go for a direct degree program. But then yes, if the circumstances are such that a child could benefit from it, I think it should be supported.
Okay, all right, okay. Okay. Now, moving on to applications themselves. We get this question a lot that we have to write about a hardship or a challenge that we have faced. And, well, personally, and I think a lot of students can resonate with this, we have no idea how to tackle this question. Because if we write about a challenge, we'll sound that we're complaining. If we write about how we're tackling the challenge, we'll sound like we're bragging. So, how exactly do colleges want us to answer this question in a compelling way, in an interesting way, but obviously not in an overly dramatic way?
So a lot of students end up doing a very soft essay style, or we call them the Mother Teresa essays. I want to change the world and everything. Yes, we want you to change the world. We want you to lead by example. But at 17, 18, you have so much more to explore. So when we have such essays where we have to share a hardship or an obstacle we faced, you don't have to write in a way that it was the end of the world. You have to look for that one silver lining that made you come out of that situation, and now when you look back at it, you feel that there has been a personal growth. So universities don't want to see you feeling stuck and still holding on to that situation, but making peace with that situation and how you have moved on from it.
Okay.
Right? So rather than making the essay about complaining or maybe showing yourself as a superhero, no, you have to find a fair balance. Yes, there were times when you face some difficulties. You wanted to be the hero of your story, and you should be the hero of your story. Absolutely, yes. But not overselling yourself, thinking that you're an adult. You're still a child for them who is coming to them for post-secondary education. So never forgetting that little thing that you're still a school student. And yes, everybody's situations and hardships are different. It affects everyone differently. But you have to bring out that positive line that helped you move on from that.
Yes, that is really good advice. I think that would help a lot of people tackle this one question. Sometimes when that question comes, my urge is to just write that, oh, this question is actually the toughest thing I've ever had to experience. Okay, so rejection. Let's talk about rejection. Okay, it is inevitable for a lot of schools, for a lot of students. How do you actually deal with rejection from a college, and how do you get through that process without spiraling?
Yes, it is a very difficult phase for every child. And getting rejected at any stage of life, be it for your job interview, be it for university applications, it hurts. And it will keep on hurting every single time you're rejected for something. That will never change the feeling of rejection. Probably as you grow, you'll have more acceptance towards it. And you'll be okay that, okay, this did not work. But in school system, what I feel is like how we celebrate every acceptance offer, we should celebrate rejections too.
Okay.
And we should do it at the school level so that we are changing the way we are looking into it. We should print all our rejection letters, and we should actually have a bonfire celebration that this was not meant for us, and it is absolutely okay. The way you see your rejections has to change. It's very important. When I have my students come to my office and say, well, I got rejected by this university, I congratulate them and I say, good for you. You are not going to be stuck with people who have a very fixed mindset. You deserve a better place.
Their loss.
Their loss, exactly. I give them a big hug. I get them candies and we celebrate. And give them a printout of the rejection letter. I tell them, you want to tear it into pieces and fly it in the air? Let's do that. You want to burn this? Let's do it. I know you're very precious. You are precious to me
Right.
and to the school, and we absolutely love and acknowledge what you do for us. So you are meant to go to a better place. I would rather celebrate my rejections than celebrate my acceptance offers, because I know they're going to get placed somewhere. Every child has a place to go to. We all have that one college seat meant for us. We will make it there. And sometimes it's destiny. Sometimes for someone, you have everything in your application and you're still getting rejected. And there's like absolutely no reason for you being rejected. But you were never meant to be there.
That sends a lot of students into crisis, by the way, and a lot of existential doubt about how I was the leader of this, I was on whatever, a sports team, I, served the community,
Yeah.
my grades. Why do they still not want me? It's a thing that a lot of students face.
Yes. And each year we have students who go through this, and thousands of them. But then you were never meant to be in that place. And my mom used to always tell me this when I was a child. She would say that if you're meant to eat the salt from that particular land, nobody can stop you. Your destiny will take you there. When there's a rejection by the university, I say you were never meant to sit in their canteen and be having food.
Okay.
You are supposed to be heading somewhere else. But this conversation has to happen early on, not when the child is getting the rejection. So when we start applying, we should have a very open, candid conversation with our students, with the parents, that, there's an equal chance of getting accepted or rejected. You have to be prepared for both. And of course, it hurts. But then I always say that, apply to a few dream places, apply to safety in your matches. And we usually don't call it a safety school, we call it Plan B colleges. They're equally best. I mean, probably you're going to shine out if you go to that particular campus. But that conversation has to happen early on.
That's actually really heartwarming, and I think that's something that a lot of students need to hear, and a lot of parents as well. I think parents also kind of impose expectations and their disappointment their child, which can actually hurt the child quite a bit.
Exactly.
So as we close the episode, here comes my favorite part of the episode, which is the here's the deal section. So if there's one brutal truth or one consolidated piece of advice that you just need high school students to hear, what would that be?
So here's the deal. Be authentic. You definitely have a place and you will definitely make it to your best fit. Being a little easy on yourself is also important. You don't have to take charge of the world because you are now in college. So you should have this self-acceptance that whatever I'm doing it on my own pace. You should find happiness in what you're doing, and it is very important.
I think that's something that every student needs to hear. Amidst everyone telling the student to be this or be that, I think what we actually need to be is just ourselves and trust ourselves.
Yes, absolutely.
And kind of trust the whole process that we will end up somewhere that is meant for us.
Yes.
But yeah, thank you so much. I think everything that you said today has been so insightful, and I think a lot of students would greatly benefit. And you're a very inspiring person, and we're so glad to have you on this podcast with us today. So thank you so much. Thank you for being here, and thank you all for tuning into this episode. I will see you all next time on Class Dismissed.